everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We have Rami Hamady with us. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me, Andrew. I appreciate it.
So, dude, you have a great reputation. A lot of people, everyone I talk to is like, oh, he's awesome. And I haven't got to know you much yet. But to start, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Of course. Also, again, thanks for having me on, Andrew. So I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, as you know. I was born and raised down on the East Coast. I lived there for a little bit, till about 13 years. I moved overseas, me and my whole family, to Lebanon, to like Beirut, Lebanon. So I went over there for all of middle school. Last year of middle school, all of high school, and 1 year of university. Came back to the States when I was about 18, 19, wanted to be independent. The reason we went there as a family was to learn about my culture, learn about certain things of that nature, right? Just kind of get familiar with their roots. Then what I did is when I came back here, I wanted to go to school. So I came here for medical school. I attended in exercise and health sciences. I became a PA, worked in PA field for about 1-2 years. I can reconnect with my significant other, Marisa Maggio, and ever since then, I got exposed to the opportunity, and I slowly looked into it from the outside, and then I kind of got into it full time after jumping in part time. That's a little summary.
So, Marisa, you started dating her.
Yes,
How'd you meet her?
Yeah, so I've known Marisa for quite some time. So I've known Marisa now for about, I'm 33. I've known her since I was 18. So when I moved back here from Boston, when I came back the summer, I met her. So when I was 18 or 19, I met Marisa down in Everett. I'm from Malden. They're basically a mile apart, cities that are towns that are state border. So I met Marisa there. We met at a party. We connected. We dated for 2.5 years. Then we separated. I stopped talking for a little bit. I was going to vacation back and forth to Lebanon, working, going back and forth, and then reconnected with Marisa again back, I think it was about now 5.5 years ago.
Okay.
And then we reconnected and we started dating again.
So you guys broke up when you left.
No, so everyone has this confusion. Yeah, so I didn't meet Marisa till I came back. So I didn't know her, when I first moved. So I moved in 8th grade. I met Marisa when I graduated high school already. So I was already in college when I had met Marisa.
Oh, so you guys broke up.
Correct, yes.
And then got back together.
Yeah, like I came back to Lebanon. I met Marisa. We dated 2 years. We broke up for about 7 years. Then reconnected.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. It was just the universe. Truly, that's all I really believe it. It was interesting because we always touched it. We always kept in touch. We always spoke. There was never no bad intent. We just separated, right? We were kids. When you date when you're 17, 18, it's not like a legitimate relationship. Some people might not have one, but my point. So yeah, we just touched base and reconnected. And when we reconnected, the funny thing is, I didn't get full into FFL. I was still in the hospital, still going to school, still working, doing the whole nine, doing that whole dance, and just seeing the opportunity in front of me and how many people she was impacting and what she was doing really opened my eyes, Andrew. That's what really got me looking into Family First Life.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Marisa was already in this business selling insurance, and you guys started dating. You were working at the hospital.
Yes.
And then at first, were you like, what the heck is that?
Yeah, so the funny story, I say it all the time. She would come home at 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. She was in the field, face to face. And you're married, and you and Nicole have been together for quite some time. Imagine you're not in the business, nothing sales whatsoever. You're working in the hospital, and your significant other's coming home at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night every single night. So I'm like, hey, what's going on? I want to check this thing out a bit. Yeah, no, and I trust Marisa. I love her to death, and she knows that. But I was like, what is this? I really wanted to know what she's actually doing. Like, what do you do? She's like, I own an insurance business. Like, okay, so you own it. And you can ask me to this day. I would literally ask that question probably 7 days in a row. So you own your insurance agency. Like, you own it. Like, you're the owner of it. Yes. Okay, what do you do? I help families with mortgage insurance, life insurance, etc. All right. Next day, same question.
Why were you asking it again?
Because I just didn't believe it. I'll be very honest. Skepticism, to be very, very honest. I was skeptic. I'm a person that, I believe in science. I'm a realist. I kind of really like to look at things from, how they look. And at first, like everyone does, too good to be true. Do you really own your business? But then after looking into it, I was like, wow, this is actually legitimate. And that's what pushed me to kind of move full
How
part-time.
much did you look into it?
Basically, I asked her about it. So, the full details, I asked Marisa, hey, ins and outs. She showed me the book of business, showed me the carriers. She showed me the video of Sean Mike. Back in the day, there was still the psychology of the sale videos, like on table. I watched a few of those. So I understood now, okay, so it's a sales position and that you just grew the business to a certain point where now you're an agency owner. And at that point, I saw the tangible realism. I was like, hey, this makes sense. Let me try it out. So I came in part-time back in July 2021. And my first part-time month was 18 families. And when I did that, I was like, I just, tripled my income in the hospital and working literally half the hours. And at that point, I was like, I can help families health wise in the hospital, but I can help you financially because I take self gratification very serious at times. If you came back and forth to me in the hospital consistently, I would think that's my fault. I would say, okay, my differential diagnosis is incorrect, my treatment plan's incorrect. I would get depressed. No joke. Like I would say, it's my fault. Like they're not getting better. It's all on me. Whereas this side,
Interesting.
yeah, whereas this side, I know if I write that policy, the second you sign it, if you cancel, that's your fault. But if you pass away, your family's protected.
So you started feeling bad in the hospital.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I always wonder that, like when I'm around a hospital, it's like a doctor has crazy news to give people all the time, right?
Definitely.
And I always wonder if it affects them later. And I just kind of assumed that they eventually just kind of, it just becomes normal and it doesn't affect them.
No, so yeah, some do, definitely. I would say some get desensitized to it and they just know it's the job and they kind of have to just go with the numbers.
Yeah,
This is what the body
it
says,
is what
blood
it
work.
is.
Yeah. But me, I'm different. I kind of look at bedside manner. I would think at the look at the families and say, you're back here again. What happened, Bob? I just told you last week to, this is your cholesterol level. I need you to lower the salt intake here. Got to do no more work here. Increase the VO2 max. They would come back a month later and decline. Then at that point, I thought it was me, my program, my treatment. Of course, I have to keep in mind that it's not only me, it's the person,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
They have will, free will, etc. So I had to balance that out. But here, at least like I mentioned, once the policy is written and something happens, I have peace of mind knowing when I sleep at night that they're okay. And that kind of really propelled me to kind of work in here full force, not just for the money, to say, like, all right,
Interesting.
I'm actually helping people.
Now, do you sell from like an angle of science too?
Depends. So I definitely bring up prevalence like epidemiology. I'll bring up like statistics of heart attack, stroke, cancer through my living benefits when I'm explaining, how that can help them. I kind of really explain to them that if you think you're not going to get sick, you're crazy. Because I'll be very honest, me and you're going to die one of two ways. I hope it doesn't happen anytime soon. But we're either going to get sick and die with sickness or die in an accident. Very rare we live to age 121 anymore. So what's going to happen? When I tell that to the family, all right, let's take away the accident part. I'm safe. I drive fine. I don't, go out too much, blah, 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 etc. Okay. Now, what if you woke up tomorrow and God forbid you get dizzy? You just fall down. All of a sudden, you're like, my heart has a blockage in there. And now you're not getting enough blood to the brain. You're not thinking properly. Now, all your medical bills and treatment are going to be sucked up by your retirement. What do you guys do now? Like, what do you truly have in place today to make sure, God forbid, that time does come, heart attack, stroke, or stage 2 cancer, invasive, that you're able to access a death benefit to pay off your mortgage, pay off your living bills. And when you say that, they're like, wait, that makes sense. And I always say, Andrew, what bank do you know that you can pay $100 or $200 and they'll give you access up to $100,000 if you're sick? What bank do you know today where if you give me $100 and you die tomorrow and you're going to get paid XYZ amount of income? They always say there's no bank like that. That's why insurance is really important.
Sold.
Right there. Easy.
So you did use science
Yeah.
and emotion.
Correct. Because the human at the end of the day, we're all emotional, right? And we all attach. I don't want to say buying things, but to emotion, right? We all have a history of buying history patterns, behaviors, etc. And the family has to remember that they're a family at the end of the day. You're not just purchasing a product; you're looking to solve a solution. And if you don't have that realistic mindset, and you go down the rabbit hole of I want $1 million for a $30,000 line of equity or XYZ, it's not going to make any sense, right? But then when you kind of go as like you said, more of the science or realism aspect, it's easier for me to tell you, all right, so you have this retirement in place. I get that. You're 40. So that's going to pay the next 20, 30 years. If that income is now depleted, what happens? But on top of that, not only the retirement you're saving, you have working ability years. We all have an income producing ability, IPA. If I lose my ability to produce income, how do I save money for the future? So I'm making $100K a year, 10 years, right? It's $1 million of income they're missing out on.
So you really hit on the angle of even if you don't die, you can still lose your income.
Yes.
So you're really highlighting living benefits.
Yes. Because again, it's really important. And I truly believe that people have a higher chance of getting sick than passing away
Early
compared to
on.
Exactly, than compared to getting a sickness and dying due to the sickness.
Yeah.
In the early years of age, correct.
Yeah.
When you're older, I tell you you're in the fourth quarter. If you're past the age of 65, I say, hey, you're entering the fourth quarter. Is that a fair statement? Sometimes they get upset, sometimes they don't, but I'm blunt. I'll say, no, my friend, you're in the fourth. All right, you're getting there. It's like a basketball game. Halftime's over, right? We can't go back. If there's 10 seconds on the shot clock left. You got one shot. We got to make it. Do you want the ball to go in or do you want to miss and lose the championship? The championship is protect their family. The ball is the insurance policy, and do you want to put the policy in force, or do you not want to put the policy in force?
Yeah, I had this dude, he's like 75 and he was like, "I'm not paying these premiums are ridiculous." Like cuz it was like 350 a month or something like that.
Okay.
And I was like, "Yeah, but dude, think about how much money you saved by not having insurance until you're 75 years old. You're definitely the one winning even with this policy."
Yes, I like that one. He saved all the money beforehand. That's smart.
He's like, "Okay."
I like that. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, that's huge, bro. Yeah, dude, I can tell the way you communicate, I can tell. I mean, you're making it make sense to buy.
Okay.
It's not like it's not making sense. And then I also like you're not beating around the bush either.
Yeah, no. No beating around the bush over here. So I'm very direct. So you could talk to all my friends and family, my coworkers, business partners. The one thing they'll say about me is that I speak what's on my mind. Now I am a quiet person at times. Like if you looked at me, someone would say maybe a little bit introverted. On a day you may think I'm an extrovert, but I definitely speak my piece. And when I'm in the home, I have no filter or on the phone now because I was just give some perspective why I said in the home. I was fully face to face sales for the first 3 years of the business. This last past year, I went full telesales, and it was a great thing, able to scale the business, etc. But I lost track of what was the conversation. Oh, direct.
Yeah.
So I apologize. So I'm just very direct in the sense where if I'm talking to you on the phone and you tell me I want to protect my loved one, I take that very serious, and I'll ask more questions. I'll dig deeper. Protect my wife. Okay, tell me why. Why is that the case? Or like most people, you want to make sure you're not being a burden, and how are you a burden? And I kind of go layers deep.
Do you ever say, "Do you want another dude taking care of your wife if something happens to you?"
I haven't said that yet. No, I'm gonna use that one though. I have not. I've had them tell me they're like, "Oh, she can go get married," or "I don't want her getting married a second time." But I'll never say that to them, you know. But what I have though is tell people in their face, "Hey, you don't care about your wife. Like you don't. You told me an hour ago, after a whole hour of financial inventory, you want to protect your family. She's the love of your life. You have no insurance in place, low income. You guys understood the point. Now, once the premium is a little bit outside your budget, you're telling me you need to think about it." I will look at the wife directly in front of her. I'll say, "Mary, can I ask you a very brutally honest question?" And I'll say, "Bob, you told me in the very beginning I have permission to be brutally honest." Because I'll ask that. I'll say, "Andrew, do I have permission to be brutally honest during this whole conversation today?" The second you give me a yes, bro, it's game on. And I mean that. Like, no holds bar. I don't care. I'll tell you anything and anything to make you understand that, hey, you made this request and you do need it. I'll look at Mary and I'll say, "Mary, he doesn't care about you. He thinks your life is not worth $200. After everything today, is that $200 value important to you to make sure that if you passed away, the house is protected, your children have more money to pay for college, to make sure they're not going to be burdened?" Bob, why do you think that's not okay to protect those aspects of your life? Because if you died today, there's no college tuition that can be paid. The wife is struggling to keep the house. She might enter probate. And at the end of the day, Bob, you filled this form out and you told me that I have no insurance in place. I want to protect my loved one. So why are you telling me that you need to think about it? Because again, you could think about it, pray about it, sleep on it. You're not going to qualify for this. We're just going in circles here. So we're going to do what most families do: put the starter package in place to make sure today, if you passed away, money is made available to your family immediately, right away. After this, we'll see how it fits in the budget. We'll touch base in a few months. We'll reconnect. But Bob, I'm telling you from now, you need this insurance, and I don't feel comfortable hopping off the phone with you until you can explain to me why you don't need it. You have to explain to me. You have to literally convince me why you don't need it. And let's say you tell me you want $1 million and like you really don't, you have to convince me. I'll say, "Andrew, you're telling me you want your FEX covered, like your burial cremation?" You'll say, "Yeah." But all right, why are you asking for 100K? Do you know the state? Do you know in the state of Massachusetts what an average funeral is? Yeah, 20,000. Okay, so why are you looking for 100,000? Well, I want to leave some extra money behind. Okay, when you fill the form out, you just want to cover your final expenses, the foundation first. When you build a house, we don't start with the roof, start with the base, and that's what I kind of do. I remind them the necessity, the
You're
importance.
just reframing the way they're thinking about it.
Correct. Need first, and then all the extra stuff, I don't mind. Like, I'll help you obtain that million if you can afford it, and if you really truly want it, no problem. But first thing, permanent insurance to make sure when you pass, your need and your solution is taken care of.
That's huge. Yeah, I love that, man. So in I want to share this because like direct advice is good and people don't forget it usually. But when I had a kid, Sean had called me
Okay.
and he's like, "Hey, dude, make sure you take care take care of your relationship with your wife because you don't want another dude sleeping in the bed with your kids if you know if you lose sight of that, you know."
Yeah.
Like, dude, I never forgot that.
Right?
Like, dude, I don't want another dude sleeping in the bed with my kids.
Definitely not. That's direct,
Yeah.
right? That's straightforward.
But that's kind of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, I thought of that the way you're communicating with the customer, you know?
Of course. And it's important. People, they like to look at telesales as I have to beat around the bush, right? Or I have to kind of phrase my words carefully. I need all these word tracks. No, you don't, guys. All you really need to do is get out there and ask the family, what do you need protected? What is your big concern? Who are you looking to protect? Once you get that answer, that's the surface why, like we all know. Dig a little deeper. Don't be afraid to ask the hard questions. Don't be afraid to push 25 times. Truly. One of my mentors used to always say, they say, you have to push, 5 times or 10 times in the home. And then on the 10th time, they're going to break. And that's very true. Some families or some clients or appointments I'll have in the first, after we do the inventory, they'll push back a bit. But then after I continue to push and push and push, they lower the guard down. At the end of the conversation, they thank me. They say, thank you, Ryan, for being so persistent. Thank you for actually taking the time to go through this thoroughly and care about my family. Because I talked to 5 other people. Not one person went through this way. Not one person actually showed me why I need it. And recently, Andrew, I'm getting so many people on the phone to tell me that. And I say, is this your first time doing this today? Or have you done it before? And they always say, it's my first time. But of course, it's always not.
You ever say, how many more life insurance guys do you want to talk to?
Yeah, I have said that before. And they say none. Sometimes I get people with their wise asses, see my language, and they're just like, yeah, no, I don't mind. I'll talk to a few more of you guys. You guys are kind of fun to talk to. But most of them, they're like, no, I don't want to talk to any of you. I'm getting annoyed. Like, stop calling
Yeah,
me.
I'd always be like, don't you just want to do this so you don't have to worry about it anymore?
Exactly. It's like, come on,
Or
peace
like,
of mind.
what if they're like, I want to shop the whole, I'm going to shop. What do you say?
I say I'm a broker. I say, Andrew, great. I understand that. That's the reason we're on the call today. I'm what they call a state underwriter or a broker. And what that means, I work hand in hand with the insurance carriers, about 40 top rated, A-rated companies. It's my job to find you the most suitable program that fits your needs and your budget. Now, in order for me to do that, I'll talk to you about 3 main things. I'll talk about if you mortgage or you own, you rent or own, see how it's structured. I then will talk to you about your finances to make sure first and foremost you actually need this protection, because I'll be the first person to tell you exactly how much you need. Because you might be like most families, you need a lot less coverage than you think you do. Does that make sense? Perfect. And last, I'll talk about your health. Not to be invasive by any means, just want to make sure any application we're looking at, I can get you approved for and not declined. That's going to be based off your age, your gender, and medication history. Those 3 factors. That makes sense? Yes. All right, your job today is just to help me help you. I have a budget, you have a budget, my neighbor does, and your neighbor does. Let's make sure any application I'm putting in place for you today meets your needs and budget. Does that sound fair? Perfect. It'll take 1 to 5 days once you submit the application. I'll go through final underwriting. They're going to fact check everything we talked about to make sure it's truthful. At that point in time, assuming you're approved, your bank will be drafted, a policy will be sent to you, and your family's protected. Ready to begin? And they kind of say yes, and I go on to it. That's my role and purpose.
Yeah, dude, you're like a robot.
Yeah, just on autopilot right now.
How many times have you done that?
Oof, thousands. Yeah, thousands. I've sold this year. This year I slowed down the end. I'm really mad at myself, but around like 618, 650 families. But probably I said every single family, every single person I've talked to, I say that. That's my only constant to all my agents.
Well, that's the sell.
Yeah,
Like before pricing and everything, you got them to agree to the whole process of everything you're gonna do.
exactly. Setting the table.
Mine's just a lot more simpler than yours, but it was just like, okay, today we're gonna find something that fits your needs, your budget. We're gonna make sure you qualify. They're gonna draft the first month premium, and we're gonna make sure you get this taken care of today.
Boom.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, it does.
And they go, well, we don't know. Well, if it fits your needs and budget and it protects your family, does that sound good?
Yes,
And then to me, that was always the sell.
100%. They're agreeing, like you said.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's hard to kind of go back on your word, right? Saying, does it fit your budget? Yes, it covers the need. So why do I want to move forward in the application?
But also logically, it's like, okay, why are you gonna wait? Because like you said, you could wake up one day and be dizzy, and who the hell knows what's going on, right?
Exactly.
So why are you gonna wait? Because it's like you could always get a different plan for some reason if you didn't like the one you're getting, but at least you're insured. It's like driving around with no insurance on your car just because you didn't look at every policy in the world.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me.
But what you find out is a lot of the carriers, the pricing's pretty similar.
Exactly. What I say is, Andrew, it's like buying a bottle of Poland Springs from 7-Eleven, from Rite Aid, from Walgreens, from Walmart, etc. It may be 6 cents cheaper at one place, maybe 6 cents more expensive another place. It's never $1 more expensive. So these are all state regulated programs. So Andrew, what happens is it's based off your age and your health, those two factors. That's what's going to determine the price range. That's how I kind of go about it and explain to them that we can shop around for days, but it's all going to be the same, right? It's not going to be this crazy difference. But let's say today you want to cover your final expenses through a whole life product. Down the line, you want cash value accumulation. I can give you a call within 6 months from now and revisit you and say, hey, is this still fitting your situation? Has your situation improved? And how can we modify your situation to get you in a better vehicle if you can qualify? If not, I make it very clear, like, hey, this is the best thing for you and your family. I'm not just saying it to you. Like, I have all the companies in front of me. I did the underwriting. I know the prices. That's it. It's this or bust. Now, I tell people low risk, moderate risk, high risk insurance. I explain that, if you see a GIWL is way different than a level, America
Hmm.
Select. I'm like, okay, I understand that there, but I explain to them again that
Yeah.
these are the criteria that indicates it. And when they hear that, they kind of take it back. Like, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah. It's like you're not going to get the, the companies want to be competitive too.
Exactly.
So it's like, it seems like they can be pretty close in price if you were to go quote them all out.
They are. They are
Yeah.
very close.
Yeah. Dude, that's legit. So you've practiced this. How good were you when you first started?
So you want my truth?
Yeah, you were
So
good.
yeah, I hit the ground running. I'm not gonna lie. Now I had Marisa, Christina, our mentor around was around. He really helped us out a lot, and it really helped out with me hitting the ground, move fast, and break things, like Sean always said. So what I did the first day was I was thrown in an office. Marisa was in one room, Christina, her sister, was in another room. They gave me a stack of leads. Here's a script, and it was just an appointment setting script for mortgage. Read. That's it. Nothing else. In the script, it would say, "Are you a smoker or a non-smoker?" Then it would say, "Do you plan on?" I cringe every time I think about it. Now, do you plan on quit? Do you plan on starting anytime soon? I would say that verbatim every single time, and they would laugh. And the first day when I got that reaction, I was like, "They're actually laughing to this." I'm like, "Okay, let me just continue reading it." I booked 17 appointments my very first day. First day in the field, 17. Didn't sell a single thing though.
Did a lot of people say, "Yeah, I've been thinking about starting"?
Yeah, a couple of times, and they don't start though. They didn't. They didn't start. And what happened was, I went to a lady. This is funny. So I'm Lebanese, right? Lebanese Italian. My grandmother's 100% Italian. My father's side's Lebanese. So I ended up going to my first appointment. When I called her, she was Lebanese. She's talking to me in Arabic, and now I can understand fluid Arabic. And if I speak it, sure, I can make out some words. Like in Lebanese, I speak fluently, but any other dialect is pretty difficult to speak in. So I'm talking back to her. I'm like, great, it's gonna be a sale. It's amazing. I'm like, she's just gonna let me in the house. I get down to the apartment complex. She's standing outside on the curb waiting for me. I'm like, why are you just waiting for me? She won't let me in the house, Andrew, first and foremost. Does not let me in the house, sitting in the lobby. I'm so new. I don't know what to say, what to do. I'm picturing her CBO 100, and she's literally telling me I have no family, no loved one, and all I'm focusing on is the death. Not even explaining to her living benefits, and not even telling her, like, hey, you could think of like a saving account, like a same with a safety net. None of that. I just sat outside, filled that paper out within 5 minutes, and then I left. I got in the car, I called Marisa. I would get live feedback, constructive criticism
Yeah,
after
that's good.
every single appointment. It was crucial to my success. What do I say? How do I say it? Got that and hit the ground running. And the first month, 18 families, etc. Convention, though, really propelled me. I'm not exaggerating. I wrote 32 families right after convention. And that's when I decided to make the jump full time.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was wild.
What did it do to you? What did the convention do to you?
It got me like juiced up. It got me amped up. It got me ready. I was like, first, I'll be honest. I believe
Competitive.
myself. Yeah, I'm very competitive. I have high self accuracy. I believe I can do things. I believe in myself. Like if I'm betting on anybody,
How did
betting
you
on me.
become that way?
Throughout my life, just going to Lebanon, living outside the United States, really built my character. I'm not even just saying that. When you move outside in a like third world country compared to a first world, it's different. When you see your best friend riding up the street on a moped with an RPG on his back and an AK, telling, "Hey, come down the street, shoot guns with me," because you're going through a civil war and you're sitting on your apartment complex, just relaxing. You look at the world in a different way. And at that point in time, because Lebanon went through a war back 2006.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. Like, so when I went to Lebanon, it was great. When you go there, it's an amazing place to visit. Now, especially recently, what's going on, it's been really tough. But long story short, I'm not gonna talk about politics. It's a great place to visit. Paris, Middle East. You can go party there. You can go. I don't drink, but I used to party a lot. You can party. You can
Did you
drink.
ever drink?
No, never. Like I would take like a shot here
Well,
or
how'd you
there.
party a lot if you didn't drink?
I just went out. I would
Oh,
go out, just go out, dance, hang out, yeah,
you
have
just
fun.
meant just go have fun.
Yeah, just go
Yeah.
have fun. Yeah, that's what I can go to a club without drinking and have a blast. Like alcohol to me deters everything.
Why don't you drink?
I hated it. Just anytime I drank it, didn't sit well with me. Truly, I take one shot, I puke. It's like, yeah, people can make fun of me for days. I don't care. I'm not a drinker. I'll say that verbatim. I do not drink whatsoever. I will never drink. Just who I am.
It's
I'm
good.
Christian. Yeah, I just don't like drinking. But my main point in saying that though is, the people in Lebanon is very fun. It's outgoing, westernized. You're thinking you're in New York. No exaggeration. Like Vegas reminds me a little bit of Lebanon. There's a strip called U.S.A. It's a bunch of bars and clubs all on one long strip. So when I went there, again, I was able to kind of grow up fast, per se, because when you're young and you're able to do whatever you want. Example, my mother told me when I was 14, go downstairs, buy me a pack of Merit 100s, those long cigarettes. And
Hmm.
I'm like crying, literally breaking down in tears. I can't buy cigarettes. I'm going to go to jail. They're going to get me in trouble, XYZ. So then we end up going downstairs and I lived above a convenience store and end up buying it. Long story short, in the line, I'm crying. I see a kid in front of me. He's like 7, and he's buying a handle of Jack Daniels, whatever, like literally like whiskey. That point, I realized there's no ages.
Rules.
Yeah, there's no rules exactly. So you can do whatever you want. When I saw that young age, buying that pack of cigarettes, going from crying to realizing you're not going to get in trouble for this, really shifts your mindset, and you begin to, act in ways where you have this reckless abandonment per se. And that's what I had when I was younger. And if you met me, 10, 15 years back, you'd say, I'm looking at two completely different people. You would say, Rami back in the day was Rami. Like, I was yeah, that's, let's say, two different people. But going to Lebanon, seeing what people can lose, how life really is. Now, I was lucky. My dad always did well in business, so like he was able to support me and my family throughout my history, my childhood, etc. But ever since coming back here, that what really made me realize, like, hey, you can do this. And conventions show me that there are tons of people who are killing it and doing great for their families. I can do that 100 times better. Nothing against them, but if they can do it, I can do it. And I believe everybody should have that feeling. Everybody should have that self belief, because if you can't believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you, right? It has to start from within. So, long story short, I know it was a little rabbit hole, but moving across the sea, moving overseas, different country at such a young age, being separated from my environment, going through what I went through at a young age, and then coming to the United States independently. I was by myself when I came back here, alone. My mom was overseas. My dad, my brother lived here 5 years independently. Imagine being 18 and coming back 5 years by yourself, dolo solo. It was, an interesting time. So at that point, I really realized that, you have to figure who you are out at that point. I realized who I am, and I'm just very confident. I believe in myself, my capabilities, and I said, hey, let me get after this. And that convention showed me anyone can truly do this. Now, will everybody make it work? No. Do you have to have sweat equity? Have to put in the proper, work and the work on yourself?
Pay your
Yes.
dues.
Exactly. But once you do that, you crack the code per
So
se.
where do you see this thing going for you?
Oh, I say going to the moon and the stars, man. I say aim for the stars. So if you miss, you land on the moon. And I really see this going, 10, like, I'm being serious, like, 10,000 families a month. I really see this going past issue paid volume. I see this looking at impacting communities. I see it looking at, what if there's someone that was like me, where they're 15, 14, having to move across country, following their family, and they want to come back at the age of 18. They don't have to go into being a waiter. They don't have to do bussers. They don't have to do all these makeshift jobs, getting paid minimum wage. They can actually come in and establish themselves from day one with a business, with an identity. They can
Hmm.
brand themselves and work on themselves, personal self development. That's what I'm looking at it now. I'm looking at developing, retaining, and truly seeing the future. And I know it sounds cliche and corny, but I want to be the person who's impacting the next generation, like you are, Andrew, like Sean is, like all the others before. I want at least my footprint here at FFL to be like, hey, when Rami came here, he made moves, he did what he said he was going to do, and now he actually left a footprint behind. And now the cause and effect with the chaos theory, a bunch of
Hmm.
random secret events will, come to a nice fruition for me. And that's what I believe. And my main goal is to, of course, help other communities, but I want to have it's like a health center where, because I was still in the medical field, right? So I want to have a building where I rent out to a bunch of doctors. I own all the equipment: MRI, CAT scan, laser, cosmetics, elective surgery. You could think of it this, any type of hip surgery, joint replacements, knee replacements. I own all the materials, everything, and I rent out the rooms to the doctors. They pay the service fee, they pay the leasing for the rent for the properties, and I just collect the income. That's my true goal, to have a medical compound per se.
Nice.
Just one of the goals I have. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet, dude. What does recruiting look like? Like, who are you looking for?
I'm looking at people who are willing to do whatever it takes right now. And I want not whatever it takes, but I want people who are serious, people who understand that they need to bet on themselves first and foremost. You have to have a schedule. To me, schedule is huge. Being able to identify, my income producing ability or the income producing hours where I'm
Mm-hmm.
able to input those activities. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people who are not playing games, who are serious, who understand regimented routine, who can develop a schedule and stick to it, who are able to bet on themselves and have a strong mindset. So not going to go up and down because this business, as you know, a lot of highs, a lot of lows.
Okay, so you right now the way you're talking, like, which I love, you're like, dude, we're gonna take this thing to the moon.
That's right.
Do you have bad days?
All the time. A bunch of shit I deal with that no one knows about. I just put in the back pocket and that's it. My back pocket's for me in my pocket and that's it. I'll move on my day. I'll continue to live life. And if I let my BS impact everybody else, how's that going to get me anywhere? Because if I just negative or I have a negative energy around me, it's going to bring others around you. It's going to bring it down. It's going to impact the ability to have a productive environment. So, yes, to answer your question, do I have bad days? Yes. But would you know I'm having a bad day? I don't think. Maybe. Depends on the type of bad day I'm
Does
having.
Marisa know if you're having a bad day?
Oh yeah, Marisa definitely knows I'm having a bad day. She'll tell you from day one. Yes, she does. And because I love her so much, and she's truly someone that's opened my eyes in this business and this world. So, once you meet that person, you're like, hey, like, all right, this is someone I love and I care about, and I'm open with Marisa. I'm very transparent. Some days, she'll come home and I'll be just down, just in my head, thinking, these agents I couldn't help, they left X, Y, Z. Why didn't they stay and retain? Things of that nature, right? That's what I. But then
Overwhelmed.
overwhelmed, correct. But then I have to remember, we all go through it. And I talk very fast at times. I know I can mumble. I have to remind myself to slow myself down in my own life as well. Like slow down, analyze things, write out the hierarchy a bit, understand where things are moving, where to put certain things. But when it's a bad day, just know that, at least what I'd look at it, Andrew, there are people dying, like literally dying, that can't even pay for water, that have to sit in 8 miles of legit traffic to put half a gallon of gas, where they have electricity from the hours of 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. to do laundry. Power's off from 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. No power. So you can't do nothing unless you're rich and you have a bunch of generators under you. Get the generators?
Why
Great.
though?
Because the
The
country.
grid is messed up.
Yeah, exactly. The grid, the country, the politicians, withholding things. Yeah. And, when it comes down to third world countries, like Lebanon, that's an example. What happened was when pandemic hit, there was a huge shortage in electricity and gas. People were waiting in miles to get a gallon of gas. I wish I could pull my phone out and show you my WhatsApp. I have videos from my cousins and my dad showing me literally like miles of people waiting to get half a gallon just to kind of get around the city.
So you just try to get new perspective on what am I really mad about?
Yeah, and I remind myself that it could be a lot worse. Like, it could be a lot worse. Roll up that. Who gives a heck? Like, whatever, dude. Go write business. I can write that out in a second. All right. What else? All right. Something bad happened to my family. Did someone die? No. No one's dead. Everyone's in good health. All right. Save your gossip for the meantime. Talk to me at Christmas, on Thanksgiving, XYZ, and I'll handle it then. Let's say me and my personal relationship, right? Everyone gets in fights with their significant others. Everybody deals with, arguments. When I realize that, I have to remind myself that it can be a lot worse, right? De-escalate. Remind yourselves, why is this even occurring and how to get through it.
Well, one of my turning points in my career, I was I would always make calls in my car because I'll easily get distracted.
Okay.
Okay. So I had my own office and I'm in my car
All
calling.
right.
And so I would call for hours in my car. And I had like, I don't know, a whole bunch of cancellations of appointments.
Okay.
And I was just feeling really bad about myself. And I talked to Sean and I was like, dude, I got canceled, like just threw up with negativity. And he was like, dude, people are dying. This was in, I think, 2010. There was a big earthquake in Haiti. A bunch of people
Oh,
died.
yes. Yeah. I remember hearing
Um,
about that.
And he's like, dude, people are looking for their family under rocks right now. And you're in your car with your air conditioning on, with food around you, and you're healthy, and you're feeling bad about yourself. And then he was like, dude, have some respect for yourself.
Wow.
and which is crazy direct, right?
Yes.
But anyways, I was like, okay, literally that day, I was like, I'm gonna stop feeling bad for myself right now,
Okay.
and I'm gonna keep calling people. And I got a hold of a lady on the phone like a few minutes later, and I wrote a policy. She spoke Spanish. She got her daughter on the phone. I wrote a policy, and it literally saved my week.
I bet. Yeah.
Like, dude,
It's crazy how that can flip, right?
yeah, man.
And it's good to have, and that's why it's important to have people surround, you want to surround yourself with people who push you, right? Who remind you when those times are bad and how it can be better, or like when they're going really good. Hey, don't only, take the highs too high. Remember, it can go down. Just stay, consistent and stay kind of plateaued and level headed and just see how it rides out.
Yeah, never get too excited.
No.
Never get too excited because you can get humbled real fast.
I could tell you a funny story. So I had it was when I first started. It was on my bigger policy I had written. So what happened was I'm writing in the policy. I think it was $1,000 a month, and my first it was three. I was stacking multiple permanent coverages. So I'm doing three different practice companies, three different companies we have with us, and I'm like calling Reese. I'm like, hey, I got all this premium. It's gonna end up being like $900 something XYZ, and this is my first year. So of course, when I first joined, I was excited about the money. I'm not gonna lie. Working in a hospital, getting paid $15 an hour, and then going to here, it's a little bit different. So then I write the policies, and the guy calls me. On the roof, by the way, cloud nine. I'm like, hey, let's do this. Like, I'm excited. I got more than I got paid XYZ. Literally, I think 2 days later, he calls me. He's like, hey, I want to cancel all of it. My heart went from like, I was happy.
Crushed.
Yeah, in my stomach. I'm so sick. I'm like, what am I gonna do? To charge back? How do I handle this? And back then, I was still part time and I didn't know what the business was gonna bring to me. I didn't know like, the producer I would be. So I talked to Marisa. I was like, what do I do? I'm like, he wants to cancel. Like,
Like,
she's like,
welcome to the club.
yeah, exactly. She's like, hey, it's gonna happen. 30% of your business is predicted to fall off. So automatically put 30% aside no matter what for chargebacks, suffer tax, etc. But she told me, she's like, just give the guy a call back. Don't be scared to call him. Call him and tell him why it's not smart to cancel, why, it's not in his best interest. Remind him of what you did and why you went there. Called the guy, Andrew. It took a little bit of time, a little back and forth, but I got him to keep at least two policies.
Yeah.
He dropped one. It fit his budget a little bit better because he wanted, a term. He couldn't qualify, had a stack equity rescue. But at that point in time, I realized, like, hey, it can get really bad. I've had my account with America negative 25K, no BS. And I've cleared that literally in 3 days. That showed me, like, hey, it's okay. Like, these things can happen, but as long as you work and you don't let the negativity impact your mindset or your ability, to be yourself, you'll be okay in this business. But the second you let doubt or that fear creep in and you're not yourself in this business, it's not going to make out. And I've realized people who do really well here, they're their true, genuine self. They don't BS around, no dog and pony show, no mask. They're just them. And at one point in time, they crack the code.
Yeah. Someone was in here and they were like, they said, if you're going through hell, keep on going.
I like that.
And I was like, dude, that actually fits for me because when I would about every 3 weeks, I'd have a bad week.
Okay.
And my trick to get out of what I call the doom loop, which is a very negative mental space of like nothing's working out.
Okay.
And in order to get out of it, I would speed up my activity until I made a sale that was literally a lay down sale because I was talking my way out of sales because I was so negative.
I got it.
And it would break me out of it to go, okay, this still works.
You actually made that sale. You're just ripping through them. Get
Yeah.
one who needs it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yep. So just keep going, speed up your activity, and then it'll bring back your belief again of, oh, this is good.
Oh, it's a numbers game at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Especially now with the virtual reality we have. We're lucky we can call, I'm in Boston. I can call, Central Time, Mountain Standard Time, Pacific Time. I want to, like you said, I can sit there all day and grind out on the phones. And if I really think it's not going to work, sit there and call all those states all day. You don't think one person is actually going to need the insurance when they filled the form out. 1% fill it out, send it back in the mail if it's a mortgage mail, or even online. People fill the form, fill outers. They need the insurance. And I tell my agents now in my own mind, digital leads are better because they're looking to buy. Like they're looking for a sale. They're not just there for, with curiosity. Like they're looking to purchase something. They just want to know, can I afford it? And does it make sense for me? Right. And then, like you said, as long as you keep pushing, now being virtual, if I can call 5,000 people to 500, I'm going to get that Bob and Mary, who just want it from anybody. Where I can tell them, like what Sean says, write the name down on a napkin, they'll buy from it. That's the same situation where, some people are just like that. They'll buy from anybody.
Yeah, because they just want it.
Exactly, and they know they need it. Or their family might have had it. I've been told, and please, guys, do not hold me to this by any means, but I've told in certain states like South Carolina, like they're raised to purchase insurance. I have a lot of clients tell me on the phone, they're like, yeah, no, down here in the South, like we need to buy insurance. Like my grandma tells me, my granddaddy told me, my mom and dad told me. And it just shows me like, hey, there are people who believe in this, and they actually need this. And that's again what made me come part time, full time into this
Mm-hmm.
business.
Yeah, that's huge. What's the biggest adversity you've gone through?
In life or in the
Let's just
business?
say in life,
Oh, all right. You
because
wanna
it's all intertwined.
All right. So my biggest adversity that I've been through in my life was when I lost my uncle. I'll be very honest. He stroked out on the table in front of me and my father and the whole
Oof.
family. I was tough. It didn't happen right then and there, but that's when the stroke occurred. And then ever since that day when that time happened, my family went through a very hard time. It was the first time I ever saw my dad actually cry. My dad's one that if you talk to him, he doesn't cry, very stoic, he's very not emotional. Like he's very open and humble, but he's very like to the point. And unless it's really, really like hell's coming down on earth, it's not going to affect him. But that's the first day I ever saw him cry. Like I
Oh,
saw him breaking down. I came home. My uncle opened the door. Did not know he was home. They didn't tell me. I was out, just out with my friends. They call me, come back to the house, Rami, have to come home. Why? What's going on? I was never the type where I'm told what to do. Like my whole life, I would do what I want, and then that's it. Listen, they call me like, hey, yeah, I can do it. Like I would be out to 6 a.m. sometimes. They would call me, hey, come back home right now. Came home, Uncle Michelle, he opened the door and he just hugged me, starts crying, and I see all my family on the corner. And at that point, I realized, all right, something serious happening. So my dad crying, and then me and my cousin Karma, she's like my sister. We're very, very close. She's older than me by like 15 years, but we were very close. That was her father. So when he died, my family went through a very tough time. During that time, I got expelled from school. I got expelled from school not because of anything that I did. And now people might say, yeah, he's just saying that. No, I'm going to make a very long story short. Someone did something in the school where I was a friend of this person. Because I was from America and from Boston, I was called the Boston kid in the school. It was a private English community school where you have to pass English to get on to next grade. So because the school is against me and thinking I'm the troublemaker and all this stuff, this kid did something bad. Now, because I'm his friend, I'm guilty by association. They suspend me for the last 6 months of the school year. During the last 6 months of the school year, I became homeschooled. They told me that I have to pass XYZ grades, all A's to a certain point. So what I did was I got homeschooled and I did. I passed all A's, but my English teacher, I got in a fight with him probably, I think it was 3 months before the suspension occurred. What they did was he said he lost my final exam. So I took a final exam, essay, wrote it out. He said he lost it. I sent it back in. So because he lost it and he's on vacation back in England, he cannot give me a new exam. Now the school is forcing me to either resign and they will pass me to the new grade, or they're going to hold me back or expel me. They told my dad, you pick. Get him out to school. We don't want him liability anymore. He can go to a new school and we'll pass him, or we'll hold him back. Of course, we resigned. I went to a different private school. At that point in time, I just continued to grow. But that was really tough in life because then that was the first time ever I felt that, my world was kind of coming down on me. And from that point on, I was like, you know what, Rami, you got to get your shit together. At that point, when I went back to that school, I was top of my class. I continued to get into the medical field and I really started to work. I didn't work when I was younger too much, when I was 13, 14. I started when I was 17. But that was like truly the biggest adversity, seeing what my family went through and what a death can do on a family. I know it's cliche because I'm talking about life insurance, but I wish that my uncle had life insurance then, because my cousin, she's in Cyprus right now. She had to move out of Lebanon. My dad funded her through her whole life, helped her with bills and etc. throughout the life and assisted. But now she has to be in Cyprus because of situations that occurred. But that was a really, really tough time for me, mentally, just trying to get through it. And I didn't know if I would, but thankfully enough, I had a strong enough head on my shoulders, I believe, to where I could pass it and I can get through it.
yeah. Sorry to hear about your uncle, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
For someone who's going through something, what advice do you have to help them get through
So
that?
definitely they want to learn about yourself, like know who you are, right? Understand the type of person you are. If you're emotional, it's okay to be emotional. If you're not emotional, don't try to become an emotional person. So my point in saying that is, let's say you're going through a really tough time. And let's say you need to talk to somebody, like you really need to start talking. Go and speak. Like it's okay. Everyone has problems. No one's going to judge you. Don't be afraid to not call your business partner that, hey, this is going down. But I'm not saying surround no negativity like we're talking about, but connect, show that, hey, I need someone there that's going to listen to me. First thing. Second, reading. Mindset and reading is really important. Journaling, waking up every day, writing 3 things down that you're grateful for. Something that me and Reese do every day. We wake up every single day in our journals, write down 3 or 5 things that we're thankful for and grateful for. We do those, the 6 days of Christmas thing, like the holiday song. We do that, and we have like this little chocolate box. And what happens is 1 through 26, it's all the days of Christmas, and it has a chocolate in it. Every single day, we record a video in the morning, and we say to each other what I'm grateful about with Marisa, something she's grateful for in me. And every single morning, we do that. So I recommend anybody going through a tough time, find that person who you love, who you care about, and ask them, what do you find in me that you're grateful for? What am I grateful for in you? Do that consistently on a daily, make it a habit, and it's going to boost your spirits. On top of that, stay busy, guys. The biggest thing I will tell you, seeing it firsthand, is you don't seclude yourself. Don't isolate. Don't just go and be quiet and not talk to anybody and just be in your head. You need to continue with life. You need to keep on pushing, like you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the guy who told you, right? When it's hell, just keep on going. Keep on going, truly, because it seems bad today. But if it's not going to affect you in 72 hours from now, it's my key saying I always say, Andrew, if you're mad today and it's not going to affect you in 3 days from now, forget about it. It doesn't matter. Truly,
Yeah.
it's not going to matter. But Andrew, if it's going to affect you 3 years from now and it's still going to be there, talk to me about it. We'll figure out how we can handle it. But if in 72 hours from now, this is not going to matter,
Doesn't matter.
does not matter at
Yeah.
all, man.
Especially if you think it's funny because sometimes you can think people care about, like, what are people going to think of me? But everybody's thinking about themselves,
Very true.
you know?
Very true. And
And they're probably thinking that.
exactly, I'll say that, and they are thinking that. And what I've realized too, when people feel the fear of judgment, is not really a fear of judgment. It's a fear of being known. Like they're like, hey, like this is who I really am, and
Mhm.
am I concerned that now if I start being my my flauntish self, whatever the case may be, arrogant, stubborn, sensitive, they're gonna now push that relationship away. When the opposite, in turn, it should reel them back in because you're being your genuine self.
Yeah. So one of our sales trainings early on, this came from me realizing that like the more open I was with customers, the more they would buy.
Okay.
Because so the sales training was called Fire Your Representative. Your representative is not you, it's the person you're pretending to be. So my representative on the phone would be like, dude, you got to remember, I'm like 19 years old. I'm like, Rami, I'm an expert and I'm going to recommend this product to you. That wasn't truly me. Truly me was, Rami, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm 19 years old. I'm going to call my manager if I don't know to make sure you're in good hands. And I have great intentions to help you.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when I would do the representative thing, I would get less sales. When I would just be me, even if it was bad, I would get more sales. So, like, I started being super, dude, we were like testing this. I'd be like, okay. Like, I would be late to an appointment and I would be like, man, I'm 19. I was at a party last
Just be
night.
honest, yeah.
I met a cute girl. And they'd be like, dude, don't worry about
Don't
it.
worry about it.
You're
What's up?
10 minutes late.
That's right.
And this fire representative thing became like, dude, don't be the boring insurance guy and pretend to be an expert for 20 years. Just be a human.
That's right. And over time, you'll become the expert just with practice and
Yeah.
implementation.
Yep. But when you're the expert, you're the expert. You're not pretending to be the
No,
expert.
correct. Exactly.
Yeah. But anyways, I that was one of my favorite like trainings that we ever came up with, was that fire your representative training.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna adapt that.
But you're kind of saying that.
Yeah, and exactly. I like the word track.
Yeah.
Farmer representative. I like
Yeah.
that.
All right, bro. Well, I can tell you got a bright future ahead of you.
Thank you,
I'm
Andrew.
excited to be in business with you.
Me as well.
If someone wants to call you and work with you, how could they reach you?
Yeah, you can call my direct number, guys. It's 617-775-9415, or my Instagram, rami.hamady.
If you're unlicensed, you can call him. You can help him get licensed. If you are licensed, you can call. They can call you. You'll help them. Can you give a little like breakdown of the national conference if people are on the fence about going or don't know about it?
Of course. So, guys, the national conference is an event. It's an annual convention every single year. All of the top representatives from Fan First Life will come to one location down in Dallas Irving Convention Center. We come together, we put the best of the best on stage, and even the rookies, the ones who are now brand new in the business, they will tell you step by step instruction on what they did and how they scaled and grew their business personally or recruiting wise. And guys, what I will tell you is big things happen after big events. And the one thing I will always remind myself is after my first convention, the main takeaway I saw was one, there are tons of different people from this walks of life that are doing it. Two, if they can do it, I can do it. Three, it's way bigger than us individually. We're an agent force as a group, we're a company as a whole. We're here to make disruptions, we're here to make waves. And guys, when you get to convention, you will truly understand that this is not a game, this is not just a company. We're a true movement and we're trying to help better generations and better people's lives. And going to convention, just go there and see for yourself. You will get the same feeling that I feel today and the gratitude that I have for myself and my life just by going to an event like our annual convention.
Now, if you can't go, let's use your excuse as a reason to go. So if I can't go because I don't have a dog sitter,
Okay.
make that a reason that you should go so you can get a dog sitter.
Definitely, 100%.
Whatever your excuse is, besides some, there's a few exceptions, use that as fuel
100%.
to make sure you get there. And dude, I've wanted to quit this industry and gone to an event and changed the way I was thinking. I've wanted to, I thought it wasn't for me. I was going backwards. I had all kinds of problems and I would go get reset. And I've I've never missed a training. I've never missed a meeting. I've never missed a conference. I've put in hours, thousands of hours and just because dude, I'll get off track.
Happens to all of us. We all get off track at some point.
Yeah,
Right?
dude. And you don't think you're off track and you're like, whoa, my thinking is way off.
Correct. And then
And I'm taking all this for granted. And this is what I wanted. Like I wanted to be self-employed.
I wanted I wanted freedom. I wanted independency,
Yeah.
flexibility.
And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this freedom seems like a burden. And then I go reset at this conference. Like, oh, this is what I want. I just need to tighten up my schedule, change a few things here, add this in here, change this lead type.
Get you recharged, and you get the and you learn the nuance of the business because it's in every evolving business. And the great thing is we have so many different people here at this company where some people are critical thinkers, right? They're going to learn things faster. It's nature. If everybody was the same, we would all be the same. But Darwinism is true. Some evolve faster than others. My point in saying that though is that there are going to be people there where they've cracked the code a little faster, or maybe they have a certain word track that you can add it. Maybe recruiting script, maybe investing, outsourcing. There are certain things that you can get from this conference and convention that's truly going to take your business to the next level.
Yeah, that's cool, man. All right, guys, we will see you in Dallas or Irving, Texas at the conference. Register fflconvention.com. And we look forward to seeing you. Rami's going to be training and a bunch of other people similar to Rami that are animals in this industry that people would pay thousands of dollars to go see are going to be training. So we'll see you guys there.
See you then. Thank you, Andrew.